Hello, back again. Before we begin, I'd ask you to please like and subscribe to the channel, LB Bruins 79. And on to this next update, we're going to take a look at the broadcast sheets and compare them to the actual order forms and order codes you would have found at the dealership. We won't go into the pricing structure. I might do that down the road somewhere, but just to show people who can find these broadcast sheets in their car that there is a code system to break it down. Interestingly enough, not every code can be broken down even out of the code sheet. Some of the build codes were internal codes that they used inside the factory, but for some of them you can't actually bring the last 3 digits of a part number and assign it to that. But we'll take a look at that. And what I'll do this time is probably just put up some photographs for you and pictures of these sheets with some arrows, and I'll talk you through it, and we'll come right back. Okay? Let's hit those sheets.
Here we have the picture from the Jefferson Avenue plant in 1967. The red arrow, number 1, points to a broadcast sheet that is attached by a big thick piece of tape to a point on the engine or on the actual front end of the car as it's being brought up from the lower portion of the plant. And number 2, the green arrow, shows you the dolly system that they had holding the entire section together, which had to be bolted up to the unit body. The unit body is coming down, and the 2 blue arrows show they look to be Newports, I would assume, or New Yorkers coming down to meet that portion coming up from the bottom of the plant. And I have the number 4 yellow arrow there just so you see that that's the back end of an Imperial. 1967 was the first year that the Imperial was to be made on the same assembly line as the C-body Chryslers. And that was a big change because previously they were using the 1957 design, and it was a body on frame design. So that became a kind of a cost-saving measure, but it may have improved the Imperial's integrity just as a drivable car, not necessarily for crash derbies. And next we have my actual window sticker, one for my car. The price is down there in that taped area. It's degraded a bit, but you can probably see some of the codes I have marked on the left with that red circle. It also involves the numerical, and well, there you can see it now. I moved it into a bigger zoom. You can see the beginnings of the car's vehicle identification number, and you can see those codes that would be on the order sheet from Chrysler. And of course you can see the prices, those retail prices. Quite a bit easier in that picture. There is that is the picture of the broadcast sheet that was attached to the engine or the front end of my car. You can see that big heavy piece of tape on it. It was found on the driver's side of the seat. And you can also see the spring markings from the seat. And the next picture is the passenger side broadcast sheet. It's the same sheet. It has all the same information on it, but it was probably the one that came down with the body. So you had a same broadcast sheet going along with a body and along with the lower section of the car. Here the red arrow is pointing to the date that the car was actually manufactured. So that's June 30th, 1966. If you look along that same line, you'll see the beginnings of the vehicle identification number. It starts with CL and then 41. And the CL41, now under that red arrow, is something we can find over on the code sheet. And it's going to be on the Chrysler order code sheet, and it dictates what kind of car is going to be built. So if you had that Chrysler sheet, you'd see by the left arrow it's pointing to the 4-door sedan, And then you look up above that across to the body types, you see Newport. Then down below you see CL41 means it's going to be a four-door sedan. And next we'll take a look at the rest of the codes. I'm going to break that into several other videos because I wanted everyone to see exactly how the code system works. They changed it from year to year, but you'll get an idea of how things work. And here are some of the great places that I found information on this. I suggest if you have a Chrysler product and you need that information, these are the kinds of people you need to be talking to.
Thank you for watching part 1 of Update 5 for the 383 two-barrel racing. We just looked at some of those items like the window sticker and the broadcast sheet, and I just started to break down the broadcast sheet. And part 2 we'll just get really deep into the broadcast sheet for my car, and probably I don't think we're going to ruffle any feathers, but we know that these things are for 1966 automobiles, and we'll have fun with it. Stay tuned for part 2 of Update 5.